Discovered my pregnant wife's shocking secret. The baby is my father's, not mine. Hey Reddit, this is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to write. My name's Elwood, but everyone just calls me Woody. I'm a 32-year-old mechanic from a small town in Iowa. My life's been pretty average. Married my high school sweetheart Bonnie about 6 years ago, and we've been trying to start a family for the past couple of years. Everything seemed picture perfect until I found out something that shattered my entire world. It all started about 3 months ago. Bonnie and I were ecstatic when we found out she was pregnant. We'd been trying for so long, and this was like a dream come true. But things started to get weird pretty quickly. Bonnie was acting distant, and I just couldn't put my finger on what was wrong. She'd avoid eye contact, her phone was always on silent, and she seemed to be hiding something. One night, she went to bed early, claiming she was exhausted from work. I decided to stay up and watch some TV. Out of nowhere, her phone lit up with a message. I'm not usually the type to snoop, but curiosity got the best of me. The message was from my dad, Roy. It simply read, "I miss you." At first, I thought it was strange, but I brushed it off. My dad and Bonnie had always gotten along well. Maybe he just missed spending time with us. But then, another message came through. "We need to talk about the baby." My heart sank. What the fuck was going on? I couldn't just let it slide. The next day, while Bonnie was at work, I went through her phone. There were hundreds of messages between her and my dad, some of them downright flirtatious. My head was spinning. I felt sick to my stomach. I couldn't keep this to myself. I needed answers. That evening, I confronted Bonnie. I showed her the messages and demanded to know what the hell was going on. She looked like a deer caught in headlights, her face turning pale. "Woody, I can explain," she stammered. "Explain what, Bonnie? That you've been fucking my dad behind my back?" I yelled, unable to control my rage. Tears streamed down her face as she tried to gather her thoughts. "It wasn't supposed to happen. It just did. It was a mistake, Woody. I swear, I love you." "A mistake? A fucking mistake?" I was livid. "How long has this been going on?" "For about 6 months," she whispered, barely audible. 6 months. 6 goddamn months. My mind was reeling. I needed to hear my dad's side of the story, so I stormed out of the house and drove straight to my parents' place. When I got there, my dad was sitting in his recliner watching some game on TV. I barged in and confronted him, the anger boiling inside me. "Dad, what the fuck is going on between you and Bonnie?" I demanded. He looked shocked, but there was a hint of guilt in his eyes. "Woody, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen." "Never meant for what to happen? You fucking my wife? Is that it?" I shouted. My mom, Eloise, walked in, looking confused and worried. "What's going on here?" I couldn't hold it in any longer. "Mom, Dad's been having an affair with Bonnie, and now she's pregnant, and the baby might be his." Her face turned white as a sheet. "Roy, is this true?" My dad hung his head in shame. "Yes, it's true. I'm so sorry." The days that followed were a blur. I felt like I was living in a nightmare. My family was torn apart. My mom kicked my dad out of the house, and I couldn't bear to be around Bonnie. I stayed with a friend, trying to process everything. The betrayal cut deep. How could the two people I loved and trusted the most do this to me? My mind was a whirlwind of emotions: anger, sadness, disbelief. I couldn't escape the thoughts that haunted me day and night. Bonnie tried reaching out to me multiple times, but I ignored her calls and messages. I wasn't ready to face her yet. I needed space to figure things out. One evening, I received a call from my mom. She sounded devastated. "Woody, your father, he's in the hospital. He had a heart attack." Despite everything, he was still my dad. I rushed to the hospital, where I found him hooked up to machines, looking frail and vulnerable. Seeing him like that stirred something in me. I couldn't just abandon him, no matter how much he'd hurt me. We talked, and for the first time in weeks, he opened up. "Woody, I know I've ruined everything. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know that I love you. This was never about you. It was my mistake, my weakness. I didn't know what to say. My anger was still there, but seeing him like that, I realized that he was human, capable of making terrible mistakes. It didn't excuse what he did, but it made me see him in a different light. As the weeks passed, the tension remained thick. Bonnie and I were still separated, and my dad was recovering at home with my mom. I knew I needed to address the elephant in the room, the paternity of the baby. I couldn't move forward without knowing the truth. I finally agreed to meet Bonnie. We sat down in a coffee shop, the air between us heavy with unspoken words. "Woody, I'm so sorry for everything," she said, her voice trembling. "I know I've hurt you more than I can ever make up for." "Bonnie, we need to get a DNA test. I need to know if the baby is mine or my dad's," I replied, trying to keep my emotions in check. She nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "I understand. I want to know too." We went to the clinic and got the test done. The waiting period was agonizing. Every day felt like an eternity. I tried to distract myself with work and friends, but the looming uncertainty was always there, a dark cloud over my head. Finally, the day came. The results were in. I opened the envelope with trembling hands, my heart pounding in my chest. The words on the paper blurred as tears filled my eyes. The baby was mine. Relief washed over me, but it was mixed with a profound sadness. The damage had been done, trust had been shattered, and I didn't know if we could ever rebuild what we once had. With the paternity confirmed, I had to make some tough decisions. Bonnie and I had a long, painful conversation about our future. Despite everything, I still loved her, but the betrayal was too much to ignore. "Woody, I want to make this right," Bonnie pleaded. "I want us to be a family. I'll do anything." "I don't know, Bonnie," I sighed. "It's not that simple. Trust is the foundation of a relationship, and ours is in pieces." We decided to go to couples therapy, hoping to salvage what was left of our marriage. It was a slow, painful process. There were days when I wanted to give up, but then I'd think about the baby and the future we'd once dreamed of. Therapy helped us communicate better, to understand the reasons behind what happened. Bonnie admitted that she'd felt neglected, that she and my dad had bonded over shared loneliness. It was no excuse, but it shed light on the cracks in our relationship. My relationship with my dad remained strained, but he was trying to make amends. He sought therapy as well, and we had some difficult conversations about our past, our family, and the future. It wasn't easy, but it was a start. Months passed, and Bonnie and I slowly began to rebuild our trust. It wasn't perfect, and there were still moments of doubt and pain, but we were committed to working through it, for the sake of our child and for ourselves. In the end, life is messy and complicated. People make mistakes, sometimes unforgivable ones. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that love, forgiveness, and understanding can help us navigate even the darkest of times. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm willing to fight for it. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Your support means more than you know.